Okay, so we know that one of the advantages of using Adobe Illustrator is that we can do vector drawings that are infinitely scalable. And so we're going to just do that. I've provided a squirrel that you can use, but you can use another drawing if you prefer. But I'm going to do a new file. I'm going to go to print, just do letter, but I'm going to do orientation landscape. And then I'm going to do create. And here is what I've got. Okay. And so let me just kind of clean this up a little bit. So it's more like what you're going to see when you see. Okay. So this is what I've got right now. And so I'm going to do control minus so I can see my whole, my whole workspace. And then I'm going to not import. We're in Illustrator, so we're going to place, Shift Control P, and I'm going to do my squirrel. Okay. And so I'm just going to click on here, and here's my squirrel. Okay. And so I've got that. And what I want to do is get really close, and I'm going to trace this squirrel. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it into pieces so that I can make different pieces, different colors, um, and then manipulate it from there. Okay. And so instead of this squirrel being on a log, I'm going to make this squirrel into a DJ. So I'm going to place it and I'm going to go into, and I'm going to do the turntables. I could do headphones as well, but for right now, I've got my turntable. Okay. So that's what I've got right now. And let me do the squirrel first. Okay. So for the squirrel, I'm going to take my magnifying glass and I'm going to get real close here because I want to really do this. Now, remember, if I want to move in my workspace, I can click on my space. I can hold down my space bar and then my cursor turns into a handle. So I can get pretty close in. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to be using my pen tool. And my pen tool is over here. Let me make sure. Okay. So I'm going to use my pen tool. And I don't have to, when I'm doing this, I'm going to be making points here. So I'm going to remember that I'm going to start at the top, and then I'm going to just clicking on here. And this can kind of take a while. You know what? I do not want to fill, so I'm going to get rid of the fill. Um, and I'm going to go kind of around the eye. And this is a little laborious, but I don't have to make it perfect right now because what I'm going to do later is use the curvature tool to make some of these really straight lines less straight. Okay. And I'm going to go around the claws too, because I'm going to add the claws later. Okay. Okay, when I get to the very end, I'm back and I click on it, and I'll know that I've clicked on it because when I move my pen tool away, there won't be a line because I've already completed that. Okay, So I have done kind of a quick and dirty on that. So I'm going to come over here to my draw tools and I'm going to click on the curvature tool. Okay. And for this one, I'm just going to, kind of be moving these out a little bit. This is kind of, you know, not great. And I'm just going to be working on different parts of it to make it look more natural. And just kind of do the best I can to this. So I want it to be cartoonish, um, and it certainly will be, but that's kind of how I do it. And so once I have it the way I like it, and spend more time than I'm spending in this demonstration, like really make it so that it looks good. Okay. So that's what I've done. I'm going to click back over here to my selection tool. And the next thing I want to do is that I want to make things, I want to uh, I want to cut out parts of it so that I can color it differently. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to use my knife tool. And remember, to get your knife tool, you can do these three dots in the tool kit. It's under modify. And here is, let me see where the knife tool is actually. Oh, it's not under draw, it's under modify. So it's here. Actually, I've already put the knife tool here. It's in my thing, but if it wasn't, I could put it here, drag it in, and then I've got it here. Okay. So that's what I've got right now. And I'm going to take my knife tool. And the trick with the knife tool is a couple things. One is that you have to start outside the line to start, do your knife tool, and then you have to go out, and then you have to go back outside again. So it's a little tricky. So I'm going to go and click on my knife tool, and I am going to come out here. I'm going to hold it down. And I'm going to kind of click here. I'm going to come out the other side. Okay. So that head is now cut off from the bodies. And I'm going to do the same thing with my, I'm going to hold it outside, do a line and come out. And I'm going to do this too. I'm going to come out. So I've got that done. And then, I could also, I think I'm going to just start with that. Okay. So I now have this drawing, and I'm going to remember this is just on my work thing. And I am going to now move the picture over. I'm going to select all of that, and I'm going to move that over. Okay. What I might do here is draw a bounding box around it, do object, and do a group so it's all one thing. And then I'm going to now kind of move it over into my artboard, and I'm using the arrows. Okay, so while I'm sitting here and I'm kind of doing these different things, what I'm going to do is a couple of things. So I want to select one thing at a time, and I can't select in the middle. I have to select on the outside path. Oh, actually, now I need to ungroup them. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that. Okay, so it's ungrouped. So I'm going to click on this. So that is just that face. And I'm going to come over and get my eyedropper. And I'm going to make that, and I can kind of click on different colors until I get kind of what I want. Okay. So now I'm going to click on the ear, this ear, and I'm going to do a dropper, and I'm going to make that a little bit darker. I'm going to click on this outside path, And I'm going to make that also the same color. Okay. And then I want to click on this part and I'm going to do the eyedropper and I'm going to, I might do this kind of grayish color here that's there. Okay. So this does not necessarily look really like highly realistic at this point. There's a couple things that I'm going to do. One is I'm going to do gradients. So I'm going to click on this area. So I've got that. And I'm going to go up here to Window Gradient. Okay. And here is my gradient. Make sure that it's that you have it, you have it big enough, you have the gradient box big enough so that you can see a lot of things. So including this slider. Okay. So this slider means that it goes, from brown to black, brown to black. If I want it to be, I can kind of click some different kinds of gradients. Right now I have a linear gradient. I could do the radial gradient, which is kind of cool because it is in black on the outside. I could do a freeform gradient where I get to change things a little bit. You can see that I'm changing it a little bit. But what I think I'm going to do for this is I'm going to go to radial gradient. But I don't want, I want it to be brown, not this other color. So I'm going to actually go back and make it here. And I'm going to make it a radial gradient. And then I want this color here, instead of that being black, I want that to be kind of an orangier thing. So I'm going to kind of play around with this a little bit so that it's a little bit, I can kind of just change and I want you to experiment with this a lot so that, you can see that now it's kind of orange around here. I can also do the slider here a little bit. I can also kind of move this around. I can, there's some different things that I can kind of do with that. Okay. So I did a little bit of gradient there, not much. Now I'm going to do this part here. And for this, I don't want it that. I want it a little bit more like that. And then I want the gradient to be like that. So as if there's more of a shadow here. And I'm going to make that color a little bit different. So I want you to kind of experiment with some things so that you can, see something that you think looks kind of cool. And just kind of play with that so that you've got kind of a different look here. So here, I'm also going to do a gradient. This, I think I'm going to actually do it more like that here, like that. But for this, do you see the different colors there? So it goes from this very light to this dark, and I can make that dark come in more. I can make this come in more. I can make this come in more, and then this is a red. So same with here. I can actually change one of these colors. So I could change this color to a brown. So it goes to a brown. And so I can kind of play around with that. Okay. So I want you to play so that you've got that. Then I want you to add features. Okay. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to figure out how big this this nose is. And I'm gonna kind of make that bigger. Okay, I'm going to start again. And so what I can do here is I could bring this in here, making it bigger. And then I can even draw over some things here. I have another little here. I can trace. I can take my line here, my pen, and I can kind of trace. You know what? I'm going to start over again. I'm going to get closer in on this guy, and I'm going to trace. Change that. And then I can kind of do that, and I can copy the different things that I've done. Not doing the best job I've ever done here. But I can, for example, take this and make this whole thing not a gradient and instead make it a lighter nose. You know, where I can go here and say I want it just a little bit different. Make it just a little bit different. I can take this shape and I can get rid of the fill. I can add a line. And so I can take that over and move that over. Anyway, what I want you to do is make this kind of trace elements of this, including, you know, the eyes. That's what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to do the dropper. I'm going to do this block there. I'm not going to do node gradient here. I'm going to not have a gradient at all. And so once I've done all of that and I've got the eyes, I have the nose, I need to put in the white nails. Then what I'm going to do is go in and take this DJ turntable and I'm going to shorten it, make it smaller, and then put it in this little squirrel's hands. And then I can also cut out and put in over this squirrel's ear. So really what I'm trying to get you to do with this is do some vector graphics drawing, add some gradients, and then put it together into kind of different elements into a picture. Okay, so give it a shot and do your best with it and turn it in and we'll see what you can do.